great last quarter. Out now to Pays. Lindsay's clear. It's 2-on-1 out there. Tui's providing the screen. Lindsay's around him. 45 out. Goes for home and he's got it. Oh, what a brilliant goal. What a timely goal. That's his second.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome Bruce Lindsay. Bruce, you played 270 SANFL games for the West Torrens Football Club between 1977 and 1990. You were also captain of the West Torrens Football Club from 1983 to 1990, leading up to the merger. You're a life member of the West Torrens Football Club and widely respected for your toughness, leadership and unwavering dedication. Thank you for sitting down with us today. Bruce, what inspired you to join the West Torrens Football Club and what are your fondest memories of the club?
Going way back was thanks probably to David Raggett, who was the coordinator of the under-15s, and we would play a game once a month on a Sunday, and he came out to the local club. I was a Modbury player, and that Teatree Gully area was the recruiting area at that stage, and so we played some games as a joined under-15 squad, I suppose it was. Through that, it was just a natural progression after that, once I'd finished at Modbury, to come to West Torrens.
You captained West Torrens for 8 seasons, 1983 to 1990. What did that leadership mean to you when you were given the role initially, but then to maintain it for 8 seasons? I mean, that's some sort of record.
Yeah, look, it's something I'm really proud of, to be honest, albeit in hindsight, there are certainly things that you can do better, I think, as a captain and a leader of the club, but I tended to try and do things on the field as the leader. Unfortunately, we didn't have very much success on the field, which is probably the biggest bugbear for me. But yeah, we certainly were able to get some players through, and we were lucky enough to have some that went on to play AFL as well. So
obviously through that time, over the years, leadership programs have now expanded. We've got mentors and we've got coaches, and that back then it was purely just you trying to drive a cohort of players and try and keep them on the straight and narrow. Is that how leadership was back then?
Absolutely, and just trying to make sure that people were on the same page, and when we had quite a lot of players sort of come and go through those periods, so that the settling of a squad was difficult, and it was always trying to, I suppose, reinvent the wheel a bit with those new players that were coming in.
Throughout your period of playing, obviously it's a very decorated career, who were some of the best teammates and toughest opponents that you played against?
Well, teammates, there was Doug Cox, there was Shane Grambo for a couple of years, Daryl Schimmelbusch played a number of years there at Torrens, and then of course came across to Woodville for a year or so. Peter Filippo, Aldo Floriani was my first captain when I first started. So Neville Roberts. There was just a lot of quality names there. As far as opponents are concerned, every team we played had plenty of opponents. The Russell Eberts and Glenelg had a number. David Marshall was coming through, and Rod Jamison was coming through at that stage. Chris McDermott, of course. Every club had quality players.
1990, the merger, West Torrens and Woodville come together to form the Woodville West Torrens Football Club in 1991. Yep. How did you react to the news of the merger with Woodville as a player back in the day, and what was the sentiment among the players and the supporters from a player's perspective?
Certainly from my own, if I was completely honest, I was against it initially, and I just probably didn't have a full understanding of what was involved and the reasons for it. However, having been fortunate enough to see what has grown from that particular merger, it certainly was the right thing to do. What has come about from the merger of the two clubs has been outstanding. There's been some premierships that the club's been able to win, and I have to say that the effort that you and the board and the people at the highest level here in the club are making to make players feel welcome is terrific. And I'm sure that all of the past players should, well, if they're not, they should be feeling very welcome.
Do you feel that the West Torrens history and legacy have been properly recognised within the West Torrens Football Club?
Yeah, I do. I think again that the board has tried very hard to incorporate both clubs in the joint venture, if you like, and there's been no shortage of opportunities for both sets of past players to be heavily involved, and I think that's a terrific effort.
How do you view the SANFL today compared to when you played?
Yeah, look, I think they've got their challenges. I really do. There's a number of clubs that, and this is to do with the economics, I suppose, but there are a number of clubs probably that are struggling financially. The amateurs and country footy and whatever are putting a lot of pressure on players because of the money situation, and the SANFL clubs are, I think, struggling unless those players really want to play league football. They are struggling to be able to retain those players just purely and simply because of the costs.
If you were playing in today's SANFL, how do you think your game would compare to the modern footballers?
Look, yeah, I think I was fortunate to play in the era I played in. There's a lot more technique and they're far more athletic now than in my day. And even at SANFL level, the levels of fitness requirements are way up on what we were. And yes, it was a more physical game perhaps, but from an athletic point of view, yeah, it's incredible what they were able to do now. I may not have been able to catch up with the modern footballer, that's the thing.
You definitely hit the modern. Just some final thoughts. What does the Woodville West Torrens Football Club mean to you today?
Yeah, look, I think it's just it's an opportunity to see some of the past growing and moving forward. And whilst I'm not, here every week, and I'm still taking a keen interest in what happens to the club and how they go. And obviously, when the opportunities arise, I like to be around the place. But yeah, it's gives these guys a new home, and I think it's something that they'll really appreciate.
From a club perspective, you're a major sponsor of the club. You've been associated with us over 40 odd years, Bruce. Like, you have a company called Ausbrokers, which does all the club's insurance and has done it for as long as I can remember. We're extremely grateful for having you at the club and everything you do for the club. But what's the Bruce Lindsay legacy?
Yeah, that's a tough one. If there's anything, I think it doesn't change what requirements there are on players as far as commitment to the club and commitment to how they prepare and stuff like that. Yes, it's probably a lot more than in my day, but giving 100% effort, that's all people would ask. I think I was able to do that pretty regularly when I played, and I would hope that the next lot of players that come through do exactly the same.
Bruce Lindsay, thank you very much for your time and for everything you do for the Woodville West Torrens Football Club.
Thank you, David.